told you like one of my friend from college watched a video and said like it's really good. She's not a Blender person as well, but she watched all 24 minutes.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
It's like, whoa.
It's like it's really
Yeah, it was entertaining.
really cool. And I got this I got another comment that was like somebody said like oh yeah, somebody's like, oh yeah, I wasted 24 minutes. I was like, oh ha ha. but yeah, I mean, so it's showing to like so many different people now. But yeah, it's taken off. I'm like, I got to get another. I'm gonna take Rob's advice, man. I got to get another video up. Like, I've reached success, and then I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah, it's really easy just to kind of ride out a successful video and kind of rest on your laurels a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I was just looking at my analytics for like my most successful period, and I dropped from 36,000 views to 3,000 views in 10 days or something.
Whoa!
So, like, it drops really fast when the algorithm stops pushing your videos. It goes very quickly, so it's a good idea to have something else lined up.
Yeah, I'm getting something else lined up now.
But the key question is like, how much pressure do you want to put on yourself at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's a lot. But I picked up a bunch of new patrons, and then come February, like 6 or so dropped off, and I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, I've been having quite a few drop off from like direction changes, and some joining.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gone into a negative like for a month's change, so that's all right.
Yeah. I haven't gone negative either, which has been nice.
Yeah, just don't read the exit surveys.
Oh, I know. It's like reading the held for review on YouTube. It's like you just don't want to go into that folder. You just don't.
Yeah.
Talking about Patreon and stuff, like mine has been there forever. Like, right, Curtis? It's been like for about 5 months now, and I haven't even mentioned it one single video because I don't know. I was like, maybe this is not the time. Maybe this is not the time. Maybe I'll put it in the next one. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I don't promote mine very often. I really should.
Yeah, I think it helps. Like when I actually mention it, I pick up a few. When I don't mention it, nothing it's like, crickets forever.
Yeah,
I'll mention it in every video from now on.
I found that when I focus on any single thing, that thing becomes a source of high anxiety. Like, so YouTube especially, more than anything, has been like the biggest source of anxiety. Then it's like, gumroad income when you're not working on products, like it goes down and you're like, no, or affiliates or whatever. And I'm finding that with Patreon as well. I'm like, oh no, I've got to keep up the pace. But
I know
I do some mental exercises now where I'm like, okay, always take a step back and look at the whole, like, it's okay.
Hi.
Hey, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
Hey, Arturo.
Hello.
So I haven't been doing a whole lot, Charan, other than like I've been updating different projects. That was the last video I put out. And now doing a little bit of artwork, which I just put out on Twitter and ArtStation, and I shared in this server as well. That's up on Patreon now. Good. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, it's fun just to make more art.
It's really cool because it like I'm a huge Deco fan, and seeing that, I was like, oh my god, somebody made Art Deco, but it's cyberpunk, and it was like the coolest thing. And then I'm looking at it, and I'm like, because a lot of Art Deco borrows from Egyptian stuff, but you were borrowing from like the Greco-Roman, and I was like, this is so cool. It's like just a whole mix of cool stuff. I really liked it. I like that style.
Yeah, same. I want to play around more with that, and I find that it's kind of therapeutic to do pieces like that in between some of the more tedious projects, like the code-based ones or just regular videos, because it's another form of, I guess, emotional expression, which is another one of the reasons why I wanted to start my podcast. Not like literally not for any good business reason, because it's so bad on like the view counts, but just having an avenue to put a bit more feeling into something.
I've been like flipping because I have this one tutorial which I'm working so hard on. But unfortunately, like my PC, I had to give it to my brother because he's going to college. So I came back to my old PC, which doesn't allow OBS to work. OBS and Blender can't work together at the same time. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll take a break from it for now. And I started modeling after a really long time. Then I understood, like, I have to get back to this, or else I'll just forget everything. There are a lot of updates from when I stopped modeling and only stick to nodes. But yeah, it's good to be back. And recently I've been working on this vintage scenes, which I am quite happy with because it really turned out really good. Those pictures which I took reference are from Atara. He's a photographer from Japan, and I love them so much. Like I've been staring at them for a long time because I didn't know if I could model it or not. But yeah, it was really nice with projection mapping and everything. Doing this project, I learned one thing, like texturing is normal and everything, but compositing is the first time. Like in previous videos, I did mention that I'm really bad at compositing because I haven't really touched any nodes. But this time I only spent I spent a lot of time in compositing, and it was really nice.
What sorts of stuff are you using the compositing for?
Okay, I'm basically taking the things and changing the levels using curves and lens distortion and dispersion, vignette, and what else was that? Bloom. I mean glare.
Okay.
That's all, but yeah. I never used them much before. But instead of using the same nodes, like using the inbuilt nodes, I'm trying to make them from scratch using math again, which is what I do all the time. And also a little bit of haze, which adds some nice things. For example, I learned all these things from JC. Is one of the person who I hang out with in Discords and stuff. He has a really nice way of adding bloom, and it was really nice. Like basically, what he'll do is, instead of using the threshold, he'll take the image and he'll drag the curve all the way down. So it only gives you the bright parts, and then he'll add bloom to that one, and then he'll add it back to the image, which is way better than how it actually gives the normal result.
A cool way I've been using for years was just and this is like in every software, is even Photoshop, just taking like a layer above something and just bringing the curves down and just getting the highlights so that you crush the blacks, you crush the light, you crush everything except for you'll just leave the highlights, and then you do a lens blur or a blur, a decent blur on that, and then screen it over the top of everything else, and then you can like pull that out.
Yeah, that was
Compositing
really
just gives you,
nice.
it just gives you so many more options. Like comping just, there's always that like extra 10% that you want to, or extra like 1% that adds that polish, and it's always elusive, and it always happens in comp.
There's that end part of the project that everybody wonders why is my render not coming out super realistic and I'm using cycles, and the reason is because there's the comp, there's the hidden adjustment of curves, and not necessarily using Blender either. You can take that image and get it out into your favorite photo editing program. I do that all the time. I pull it out and I dump it in Affinity and just crank the curves because it's a bit quicker and real time than Blender is.
Yeah. Also, like one more thing, the color balance node, which I haven't really touched before. I played with that as well. There's these two things, right? Lift gamma gain and offset power slope.
Yep.
I did find a similarity, however, I mean, like the mathematical formulas to make them from scratch, and it is pretty easy. Like I do that all in a different way, but in shaders, because I do want to like bring them up and stuff. But seeing how it works and relating it to the curves, like how the curve is going to look if you increase the values, we can actually make everything from scratch using like math. And I want to see if I make everything from scratch using math nodes. I think it is probably more cheaper than using the color balance node. I should test that out, but it's interesting.
It might be faster.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Probably will be.
I don't know.
It couldn't possibly be slower.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say Blender's compositor needs some love.
A lot.
It's
Yeah,
it has such
lots of
amazing
love,
potential.
actually.
Yeah,
It is being worked on, I think.
Good.
Oh, I was just gonna pose a question to the group. Do you think that one day, the average human, more humans than not will understand node-based thinking and like computing, just because it will take over?
Yeah, it will take
Probably.
over for sure, because like everyone is going down the line because it's more organized and you can like see the progression from start to finish, right? Like for example, Houdini, it does everything in a one single node tree, like compositing, rendering, and everything, even exporting as well, which is pretty interesting. And even Blender is going down the path using everything nodes, like it's coming up. And I'm going to start learning about geometry nodes as well because I have to catch up. And Aaron is working on it and he's having pretty good results. So even I want to try that out as well.
Yeah.
And yes, also because compositors Fusion is also node based and everything because it's in compositors. I think it is going to take over soon. Like everything can be node based. Like it's, how can I say, like if you want more variations using sliders and everything, you can do that using nodes pretty easily.
With node-based systems, it's also a very good representation for abstraction as well, which we talk about a fair bit on this podcast because I keep bringing it up. But abstraction, it's a really good way for like building procedural systems. That's essentially what makes the shader system so good with node groups. And I just think like if you really wanted to describe abstraction to someone, you'd think of like a tree layout and like branches branching off into other things. And I think just because the human like short-term memory capacity is small anyway, like being able just to visualize things in blocks and then like zoom into other blocks and zoom into those blocks and keep on going, and come all the way back up as well. It's just a really effective way of representing information like that. So yeah, I feel like node-based systems have got like a really good longevity, and there'll probably be more versions implemented in more softwares in the future.
It's incredibly powerful within game engines as well. So I'm not sure what the Unity version is. I'm sure they've got a version now. But in Unreal, when you've got your blueprints, it's just as performant as the underlying C++ code is, because the engine compiles it down so that that's not something that's holding you back. And it's very visually accessible. Not only, as you said there about the abstraction case, it's easy to see what's going on. It's also easy to see. Whereas in code, where you're often jumping between different functions or calling something that you can't even see on your screen, with a node group, you can go, oh, it's right there. You can see the path, so it's for anybody who's visual, it's a real great performance boost.
That's a good point, because you don't get that same visual with like layers. You can't see where the data is flowing as much.
Oh, by the way, Jacob, your recent compositing tutorial for Fusion, it's amazing. If you don't know anything about it, mostly you can like get a good view of what Fusion does, and it's really nice. And it's really powerful as well, not like Blender's compositor, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty fast. Not slow at all.
Yeah, it is really good. It's because I took a new course.
Standard.
I might have mentioned before that I took a new course, and then just I had a project come up that I didn't want to fully board the nuke train and invest in that, since it was like a commercial project and I couldn't use the non-commercial version anymore. So I jumped over to Fusion and found that it was a little bit of a learning curve coming from nuke, but a lot of the stuff transferred over just fine. And then I tried to relate it back to Blender, just because that's what a lot of my previous tutorials were in, compositing. But I got not a lot of flack, but some flack for like, hey, these two cannot be compared. Blender is not a compositor, which is true, but still a lot of people use it for compositing, and so I think the comparison is hopefully helpful for some people. I know.
One thing I want to really know about any other, like, compositing, it all comes down to color spaces, right? Like which one you use, LUTs and everything. I really want a nice tutorial where they go deep, like what it is actually. Like I do understand, but not clearly. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, that's super complicated, and the rabbit hole goes deep with that really area of stuff. I mean, I've only scratched the surface, so that's why, like, in that Fusion video, I even said like I might be doing the color stuff completely wrong, and I think I did, because I shouldn't have used a LUT. I should probably have done like a color space conversion. I really don't know at this point. But yeah, it's good to know. I mean, that's important to try and understand.
It's really just knowing where it's going to end up being played, and and there's because I've seen so many different things where, like, even if you go into I haven't been in a Costco in months, but if you go into like and you see like the big all the TVs and everything, and they all look different, and they're all like displaying stuff differently, and sometimes you can see like on especially the ultra sharp stuff, you can see like edge matting and things like on comps and things, and it's like, oh wow, like they're so ultra sharp. So it's like knowing what looks good on what and what your end result is going to be.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's a whole dark art that exists in that space.
I think the hardest thing about that is that it's in so many different parts of so many workflows, it can be hard to distinguish like what you're viewing, how that connects to like the data behind the scenes, because it might be you're actually altering your file, or you might just be, changing your view. And so
Yes.
you're not changing the colors. And so that like disconnect, I think is where it always falls apart for me. I'm like, am I actually applying a change, or am I just viewing this differently? Yeah, it's kind of
the LUTs are just view they're just color transforms, I believe. But if you're actually in changing levels and things like that on the actual file and burning it in, then you're changing the data. So it's really weird to know like when it's happening and when it's not happening.
I mean, it's a good point there. Knowing your target output is incredibly important. If we're trying to teach something in Blender and we've got an 8K screen, which we can see fine, but then the viewers watching it on a 1080p screen, they lose all that definition. They just end up with pixels that they can't read or see. And I've just done a video, in fact, about how people end up like rendering out 2,000 samples and at 4K resolution, and they're uploading it to, I don't know what Instagram's like with that, but certainly they're uploading it to someone like Facebook, and it just gets crushed. You might as well have saved all the time and just rendered it out.
Yeah,
Instagram
will
is even worse. It's limited. I don't even think it's HD size, is it? On Instagram, it's like 800 pixels square or something like that. You lose a lot of data.
I found myself now rendering out at like if it's an image designed as a thumbnail, it's being rendered out at 300 pixels wide. I mean, I'm not going to spend the time rendering it out at 4K so it looks pretty on my screen to then upload it and get it go. Because I tell you what, a 300 pixel wide image takes seconds to render versus a 4K one.
I don't know why why I do that as well, render it in HD for some reason. I don't know, maybe just to see like it looks pretty for me.
I was going to say one of the benefits of rendering at a higher resolution or bigger files is transcoding. So you can take something like 4K and upload it to YouTube, your favorite converter, whatever it might be, and then you can get 360p versions of it or like 720p and whatnot to share with other people. But to Michael's point, sometimes it's like you just should know where it's going, because there's no point. I actually just rendered an animation that's just just for my eyes at the moment, just to see how things are looking. And originally I was going to do it at 1080p, and it was probably going to take me a long time on this laptop. But then I remembered so many of the conversations we've had here. I'm like, oh, 720 it is. It's fine. It's not going anywhere. It's just part of my own like work in progress stuff. And also something that is cool that I've been thinking about in this, and I think we've talked about briefly too, is that you could always upscale it using artificial intelligence with varying degrees of accuracy and sharpness and whatnot. But worst case scenario, if you really gotta get some file upscaled, just use Photoshop or something similar and let those tools handle that bit.
Yeah, I tend to do all my thumbnails in 1080, so 1920 by 1080. But like all the text and the borders and that is all kind of vectorized. It's all done in Affinity Designer. But for the actual graphics, I will like a lot of the time use either artwork that I've made or like promotional imagery from other places. But if it's artwork I've done, then I've already rendered it out in like 1080 or 4K anyway. So then it's just like, okay, we'll drag in, use that, very easy. So yeah, so that's quick to do. But yeah, if you're just rendering straight for the thumbnail, then like what's the point? Then going super high,
One of the things, and it's the same with photography, or filming in general. The other benefit of a high resolution image is cropping. If you want to be able, if you want to be able to use the image, but multiple facets of it in different ways. Having a higher resolution source copy is awesome for that.
Compression too. Like on YouTube, it handles video a lot better. If you upload, say, a 4K or a 2K, and then it converts it down, it does a lot better job with not losing as much data, even though it shouldn't make a difference. If it's compressing it down to 1080 anyway, a 2K video shouldn't look better really, but it does. It does a better job of managing the data somehow.
Wow.
Yeah,
yes, I've heard that with audio as well on certainly on YouTube. If you've got a high quality audio stream, your viewers can only access it if you've uploaded at 4K. Otherwise, it just drops it and crushes the audio as well.
Yeah.
So that's why all my new videos are up at 4K, regardless of the fact that they're not recorded at 4K.
Yeah, it's worth just literally upscaling everything in size, just blowing it up to 4K and uploading it like that, even if the data isn't actually there. It'll do a better job with it. But like you said, it's all about managing where it's going to be seen. I mean, the video I've just uploaded today, there's a little like 4 or 5 second animation in it, just showing off geometry nodes. And that took about 4 or 5 hours to render out because it's got a load of grass. And I only did that at like 720 because I started rendering it out at 4K, I think, with denoising. But low samples, because the denoises generally do better with low samples and high sizes compared to a smaller image with high samples. But it was going to take like 15 hours for a 4 or 5 second shot. And I'm like, who cares? It's 4 seconds. You get the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So when's someone going to do the first 8K Blender tutorial?
You need a 30.
No one will be able to watch it.
Yeah.
Because they'll need 8K screen.
Just a flex. It's just a flex.
I want to do more videos in the ultra wide resolution. You know, where actually it literally takes up when you've got YouTube in the full screen on desktop, it will take up the entire like horizontal space. And I'd love to do more stuff that uses up all of that, but for people on the phone, it's going to be so difficult because it's going to be so small.
I did a recent adaptation of one of my videos for Facebook, and because the primary aspect ratio for viewing that is vertical, I decided to opt in. I went through and did subtitles and baked them into the video, and had the little yellow bar that moves along if you're watching it, so you can watch it silently if you like. But that was interesting because that was a 1-to-1 video. So there were these black bars on here. I was thinking, how do people really watch information videos like this? This is horrible. But if it's the thing to do, I'm going to do it for a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know about you all, but I definitely turn my phone 99% of the time. If I can, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, did you start the video with a nice caption like this one man did something that was crazy, and
no.
he used a mouse to do it.
Wow.
It's just like every Facebook video, I feel like.
Yeah.
So the beginning section of a course I'm writing, I've started to put out on YouTube at the moment, and I originally put them out with just like more formal presentation style thumbnails, and then with just the title of what the sort of lecture actually is. And then I was speaking to Erin. I think it was it wasn't last night. It was the night before, because it was 1 a.m. when we were talking. So earlier on this morning, or something like that. And he was like, "Oh, how about doing this?" And then he made he didn't make me do it, but when someone mentions something, you're just like, "Yes." So the next 4 hours was spent adjusting thumbnails, rearranging titles to the point of not making it clickbait or anything like that, but more along the lines of a YouTube style. You won't believe what, and those sorts of things. Why I'm no good at organizing, that sort of stuff.
They look great. Yeah. They look great. Are these the one you're talking about? The ones that you shared in the work in progress?
Yeah. After about 4 hours spent on them, I was like, I'm just gonna put them here and go to bed, because now it's 5:30 in the morning, I think it was.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's sometimes
you just get locked in
trance.
Yeah, the kids are up at 7 no matter what. So it doesn't.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Sometimes for shorter videos and stuff, when people do clickbait titles, I'll be like, so when I read the title, I don't know what's in the video. So I don't know. I might not watch it because it might be about like transformations or something. And if they just do like a very important video or something, I'd be like,
You'll
it's not
never
what I want,
believe this.
probably.
It's like, I probably
Yeah, like
won't. Next.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
9 out of
that's
10
ex-
Blender users do not know this one simple trick.
Yeah.
The end of
Oh, yeah.
Why my
photogrammetry.
mother disowned me.
my mother disowned
A
me.
Boolean video, Boolean Blender video.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love on
Yeah.
Twitter. I don't know if any of you have seen, but like
My mother disowned me.
there are loads of articles on Twitter from like, all these companies that want to stay relevant and want organic growth and whatever. So like I follow a bunch of like gaming articles, and they'll always do articles like oh, this is the reason why this wasn't released on this time. And I love the people that just like comment straight after it's this. So like you never click on the article, but there's people that just say exactly what it is. Like go through the entire article just for that one tiny bit of information. Like don't click on it, it's this.
Oh man, there's an investment house, the Motley Fool. They were a website forever. They're still around, and they put out these newsletters. And I was on their email list for years, and every single email was just like, this one stock is gonna make you a trillionaire, but you have to invest in it now. Read, and then like links you to the newsletter that you have to buy. So they were like websites that were devoted to just like telling you what stock they're hyping up in that newsletter. So it was hilarious. Because every single one of those was like just using just every copywriting trick in the book to get you to buy that newsletter. And then some people were just like, no, it's Apple. Buy Apple. It was like, what?
Yeah.
Before the chapters was a thing on YouTube for those of us old enough to remember. People would be heroes in the comments, just going like, okay, at this specific timestamp, they talked about this, that, and the other. It's like now you can do it yourself, and you should if you upload to YouTube. You all are pretty good about timestamps, and I love you for it.
I love the chapter.
It makes it so easy. Yeah.
I should do that with mine.
I did feel offended once though, because I felt like I perfectly chaptered a video before, like I guess it was a few months ago, and I thought, okay, well that's all the major points chaptered, and then someone else came in the comments with their own set of chapters for the video, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Someone did that to me the other day too.
I was like, how am I supposed to take that? Like, did they know there were chapters, or are they saying forget those, just use these instead?
Yeah. Well, probably the same guy,
isn't it?
They got
the description is crushed, isn't it? And then the top comment might have it on. So it's all about less clicks for the user to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
on the actual bar though, it's on the screen. You can see
you got the lines.
You can't necessarily see what they are.
Imagine a troll making a chapter video. Your video.
I like the chapter.
Curtis.
Yeah.
Off topic.
I was so jobless. Once I was so jobless, and I saw this subtitles which were wrong, so I actually edited them and sent it back to them. I don't know why I did that.
Oh yeah, I remember...
and they ended up using that. So
the did anyone else make use of the community transcriptions thing before they removed it? Where people would so you could set it up so people would be able to submit subtitles for the video and translations for the title and description.
I think mine were turned on, but I don't know if anybody did it.
Okay, yeah, some people did it for me, but like some of them were really good, but a lot of the time it was just like you just literally put this into Google Translate and like because it shows you what it translates back like for the meaning as well, like when you could review it, and some of it was just way off, way wrong. I'm like, okay, that's not gonna do. If you're gonna do it,
that's one of the reasons they pulled it.
Yeah.
And people were filling the transcript with like advertisements for foreign companies and things, and obviously they wouldn't know. They were just okay it. A lot of people would just say, "Oh yeah, that's fine." Or whatever. And really, it's just like a political ad.
Yeah. And you don't even know it. I know.
I suppose if you're using Google Translate, it can do that anyway, and I'm pretty sure it does.
Do you all have automatic translations turned on by default on your channels?
I think I do. Know where to look.
Or not automatic translation. Sorry, transcription.
Yeah, I do. I think.
Okay.
Is it on by default?
I think so. I'll need to check.
I'm not sure. but they take such a long time to actually upload, I've noticed. Because when we have to transcribe videos, that's always a bottleneck. It's just waiting for YouTube to do the auto transcription. And sometimes, like when I'm watching some of your videos, I've felt like maybe I'll just come back once the captions are up. Not for any specific problem listening, but just when I can't hear what's being said because I'm on what is this notification? Because I'm on a commute or something, or the train. It's just so nice to have them, but YouTube just takes ages.
Hi, Markom.
Hi,
Good
Markom.
morning. How are we all?
Good morning.
Yeah, good.
What's the
Here,
traffic
Markom.
update, Markom?
School's now back as of last week, and it is horrendous. Now it takes me like 12 minutes to get to work instead of 10.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Damn.
How are the
120
road
seconds.
conditions?
Road conditions, a little bit wet with dry patches.
Puddles. Yeah.
So,
Make a video on it.
so just jumping in on that last chat, I found as well that the subscriber count affects how much YouTube will actually promote your video as well. So, for instance, I've started Dead Set Digital, and that's got like 230, 40 subscribers or something. The click-through rate's a lot higher, which means technically that YouTube should be promoting it more because people are watching it all the way through, even though it's like a minute. The click-through rate's almost 3 times as high as my current channel, but yet, like, the impressions are ridiculously lower. So I think still subscriber count's fairly important.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the people who go, like anyone who hits 100,000, they mushroom, and they blow up to like 200,000 really quickly. But the people who are like fighting to get to 100,000, it's a slower ride.
Yep.
Unless you have like a
Yeah,
few
it does.
videos that really hit. Go on, Rob.
Yeah.
So you know how we're trying to get Doge to the moon?
Oh, okay.
We're also trying to get BlenderNest to, what number did you say, Kev? 300,000? 500,000? So
Maybe
if you don't want
100,000.
why not?
100,000.
100,000, if you don't want us to get sucked into algorithm heck, then hit subscribe.
That's right. Subscribe.
Yes.
Thank you, Ashura.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's a lot of it's because the biggest struggle that YouTube seems to have is figuring out who to show the video to and who's going to respond well. So I think sometimes when you have a smaller channel, the core group of subscribers you've got like respond really well, so you get a high click-through rate and high average view duration. But then YouTube like doesn't know who else to show that video to. Whereas once you start to get more audience data, then it can go, oh, okay, we've got like this demographic who it appeals to, or this one. Whereas if you've got 100 viewers, that's not a lot for it to go on.
That's where I think the Facebook data could do a lot better targeting. I mean, Google has tons of data on everything, but Facebook has like psychographics. And I don't know if YouTube really has that. I mean, I guess they do in some form, but like you're not up sharing, you know, what you made for dinner 3 nights in a row, and like, you know, having all those data points that something like Facebook would have.
Yeah.
Everything you said when you were 16.
Yeah, exactly.
YouTube, I suppose, only knows, apart from the whatever information it gets off Google, it only knows what videos you enjoy, whereas Facebook knows everything you enjoy.
Well, I think you have to have like a Google account to have a YouTube account, but it's
There's a lot of people who won't be signed into that account on the browser and things though, so they won't have that information necessarily.
Yes, exactly. You're absolutely right. They'll just be watching from like a, you know, just
like they might be signed into YouTube, but they might not necessarily be signed into Chrome, or they might not use Chrome. They might use Firefox or something.
Yep, exactly. So they don't have as many data points, I don't think, as something like Facebook would have. So figuring that out is really their algorithm. Figuring out who to show it to is really tricky.
I've considered jumping on Facebook video a few times, but like it has just a lot of problems.
Yeah, I
was saying earlier on, like the format of it in general and the way people discover video on Facebook, it's not like an appealing proposition. And there was all these stories came out about them, like they were really fluffing up the numbers for people. There was a lot of brands that jumped over to Facebook because they were saying, oh, you're getting whatever, like 1 million views on every video. and it was literally like a 3-second play was being counted as one view, so they weren't getting anywhere near that much engagement, really. And when they crossed over and spent all this money on it, it was like, oh, you've got nothing really. You've got no viewer base.
Exactly.
It was people scrolling their phone as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't actually tapping on the video. They were counting if someone paused on it, 2, 3. No, I'm not interested in swiping away.
And they jacked up the ad rates based on the false views too, which I used to advertise a lot on Facebook, and I can't.
I've got about 20 or 30, somewhere between 20 or 30 videos that I will be putting on Facebook. If I find out something interesting, I'll let you all know. But I might find out.
Experiment.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I've got a good run of videos. That's a series of videos back to back. So I don't know whether that would do better than just me having a pop at it. Because like most things, if you just have a little pop at it, you don't get enough data to work out if it's good, if it's bad, or anything really.
So I'm just fascinated by a day in the life of Markom.
I know, I'm loving it.
I'm at work now.
Like, do you have palm trees there too?
Palm trees? No, these are gum trees.
Gum trees. Look at that. Oh, look at that.
Spearmint.
I like spearmint.
So yeah, there you go. My work. There's Macca's over there, KFC over there.
Oh my god.
Dang.
Whoa.
But anyway, I'm at work. I will bid you all good evening, good day, good morning, good night.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Lovely.
Have fun at work.
Yeah, have a nice day,
Bye.
Markom. See ya.
Bye, Marco.
Oh,
Australia looks so cool.
I love him.
I want to live in Australia.
I want a kingdom.
It's so great seeing our son off to school.
Going back to Facebook, I got a friend request yesterday, and it was such a weird thing. I haven't had one in so long with COVID, and then just with Facebook being the place it's become. It's just weird for me. It's such a different place.
Yeah.
For me personally than it was like 10 years ago.
Definitely.
That's a good point, actually. I don't remember the last time I got a Facebook request. I get them all the time from like fans who try to add me because I share to pages and things like on my personal account, and I don't accept them. Like my Facebook's just for friends and family.
Right.
But I don't remember the last time like an actual person I know tried to add me on
Yeah.
there.
When
me either.
When I started the YouTube channel, or when it started growing, I went back and deleted all the unnecessary social media accounts that I thought that, do I really use them? Are they really important? No, get rid of them. So I got rid of Snapchat, I got rid of Facebook, I got rid of all sorts of other stuff. Because I was just like, well, it's just another place that stores information, right? It's just another place to get hacked. Do you need it? No, get rid of it.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Like I'm so close to just shutting down my Facebook stuff. I don't feel good when I go on there. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'll go on there, and even if it's just like just knowing, like, you know, during the election and all that stuff, just how many people posted like the worst stuff you can imagine, and just knowing that they believed that, I can't. It's ruined for me.
Yeah.
It's just ruined. It's ruined.
I got off Facebook at the beginning, like in June, because like, you know, I've got family members all over the United States with different ideas about things.
Yeah.
And it just made it impossible for me to think about my family in a positive way, honestly. So and what people write isn't like who people are. It's easy to conflate the two, but you know, a person can't be reduced down to a Facebook post. I first downloaded a Chrome extension that deleted my feed, and that helped a lot. And then I realized, you know, apart from like our building Facebook group, I didn't really need it. So it's suspended at the moment, but I use Messenger all the time to talk to my friends overseas. So that's a tricky one. And you can't have an Instagram business account without a Facebook account. So for like
that's right.
photography on Instagram, you can't do any, you know, business promotions of your posts.
No.
You don't have a Facebook account.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. It's you got to keep it around, but you don't have to be active on it. So I guess that's just how it, you know, it's. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I feel the same way too. It's just like friends, family, just stuff they're, you know, especially after when the pandemic hit, and like the stuff that they're sharing and all this stuff. It's just like it's just toxic stuff, and you're like, I don't even want to read this. Like, and then you start thinking like, wow, this person really like it's just yeah. I like Twitter.
Yeah.
I think every social platform has its dark corners, just like in real life, I suppose. One of the things I was amazed that I did not know about Facebook is some cell carriers have it as part of their package. So any of the data that you use that's on Facebook is free as part of your mobile data contract. And this is one of the reasons why I'm like, well, this beginner stuff, I want it to be as accessible to anybody as possible. So I'm going to put some of the videos on Facebook. So that's kind of the stem of where it came from. But I now kind of understand why, if you're in any of the Blender Facebook groups, suddenly you get loads of people using it like they would do Google. It's until you realize that. And when someone says, why don't you just go on YouTube or why don't you just Google it? It's like, well, can you give me £10 so I can go do that then? You know, it does make a big difference.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
No,
interesting perspective.
Facebook's been rolling that out for a few years now, where they're basically saying in places like Africa, they're going like, here's a phone or whatever, it has the internet. And it doesn't really have the internet, it's got Facebook. And it's got a few other Facebook affiliated websites for free or for very cheap, but still it's better than nothing. It's some sort of connectivity.
Yeah,
but,
like
but
said,
unless you realize that, it's amazing how easy it is to just say, why don't you just Google it? And you don't, and I don't know, it's completely alien to me. But now at least I know about it. My partner was funny. She turned around and said, "Did you not know about that, Mike?" Because apparently that's even in the UK, you can get data contracts that Facebook is free on.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never seen one, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I've
had unlimited data since switching over to T-Mobile, and I've just been riding that out. So it doesn't, even if they throttle it after a certain amount, it doesn't matter. I don't feel it. So having like, but again, you know, I'm not in, you know, Africa, or I'm not in a place where, you know, internet is severely limited. So you know, I'm kind of blessed that way. But
I'm quite lucky where I am here because I'm on an unlimited data plan, and technically we're not supposed to have 5G in this specific area, but because of the way that I think the hills roll, I can actually get a pretty strong 5G connection on my iPhone from this room, because we're kind of like on an elevated thing, and I think it's probably bouncing off from somewhere around London, which you actually have line of sight from here. So I mean, like it's not like a few roads down either. It's just like there's a little pocket here where you can get it. So I'm really happy about that.
No headaches?
No, but I have been having really bad headaches today and last night because of that.
Yeah, the lizard aliens come and visited you.
Yes, I've got a what is it? A Bill Gates microchip in me.
Microchip.
Yeah.
Yep, that too. Yep.
Yeah.
Is anyone vaccinated?
Me now. So I went and got the
so
first.
You do have a chip in you.
Yeah. No, okay. You know those videos where like they talk about conspiracy theories, and then underneath YouTube puts like a little information box. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
It's like that's what's going to happen until
I've wiped those all off my vernacular.
This video is definitely going to get one of those.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll put it on record here. Yeah, I had the first dose yesterday. I've got the next one coming in April. I had the Oxford one. What's it called again?
AstraZeneca?
AstraZeneca. That's it. Yeah.
AstraZeneca.
Funky name. It was interesting because like I got a letter through the door saying you're clinically vulnerable, you can book now, and then you go onto the website and they give you like a list of places you can choose from, and it was basically like this hospital, and they had like the Excel Center, which is in like massive area in London where they host like Comic-Con and stuff. It's basically converted into a hospital now. So I chose a hospital nearby, and they give you a set time. And I was thinking, right, is it actually going to be set to the time like an appointment, because they're trying to like crank out as many people as they can, or is it going to be like a military like temporary hospital setup thing, where it's just like walk in, get stabbed, walk out? And it was more like that. But I went in there, it was all young people, like almost all young people running it. There must have been volunteers. And they were super nice. It's like, okay, here's your form, sign consent. Like someone's watching everyone writing the forms, going, okay, this person's done their form, right? You come in, you come on through, you sit down there, and they'll do it. And it was so quick, just like in and out.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. But
That's good.
I wish I could get one right now.
Yeah. But this jab, I was saying to Kev just before we started recording, has given me the hardest side effects out of any vaccine I've ever had so far. It was fine, like, I guess for maybe 10, 12 hours after I got injected, but last night I got about 2 hours of sleep because the headache was intense. It was all around the head, but it was kind of fluctuating. Like sometimes it would just go and then come back, and like it was weird, and I had like random stabbing pains down my back as well. And like when I did manage to sleep, I had like a nightmare for the first bit, and I kind of woke up in a bit of a shock, and it's like, oh, okay, that's weird. So I've been on ibuprofen the whole day. So
Was Bill Gates in your dream?
No, he wasn't. But if he was, I would be concerned. Yeah, so it's just interesting. So I've been reporting all of that to my parents and brother because they're jealous. They want their vaccine, but they're probably going to have to go through the same thing as well because my grandparents have already had it because they were high priority and they had similar things. But apparently, looking it up, young people have reported stronger side effects from this jab than older people, which is interesting.
You know what vaccine is really not nice is the shingles vaccine. My mom had it, and they always recommend that you take 2 days off of work because the percent of people that get sick, like pretty sick for like 2 days, is pretty high, and she has gotten sick. I think there's 2 shots involved, and yeah, she definitely was wiped out with both of them.
Shingles, adult measles,
chicken pox.
It's like a rash.
Yeah,
sort of.
I had shingles when I was a kid. It was a nightmare. It was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me medically. Absolutely excruciating. It's like chicken pox, but just so much worse. Like whereas chicken pox is like itchy, it's just a really bad like muscle pain. Like it's a pain in your nerves basically because it attacks like your nervous system, so it's like you feel it under your skin. It's a really horrible feeling.
God.
Yeah, I don't want to put anyone off vaccines, by the way, talking about these side effects. It's definitely worth it, you know. If you have the chance, just freaking do it, you know.
Better than being dead.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we had like a massive measles outbreak in Disneyland a number of years ago here, and it was like, how many people were not vaccinated for measles? It was like, you get that MMR vaccine, like, and people were coming down with measles. I was like, didn't we like get rid of that? Like, you'd think like our science, I don't know. So anyway, I don't want to trip the anti-vaxxers here, but to each his choice. I am just happy that we have herd immunity to things like, I don't know,
polio.
Polio. Yeah.
Yeah, to each their own choice, but you have a duty to protect everyone around you. So
that is true.
Exactly.
So I believe
Don't
that.
be an asshole.
I will personally take any vaccine that comes my way if it means I'm not. I hate getting the sniffles. Like I hate getting a cold.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, all right, yeah, okay, COVID, sure, give me the vaccine.
Oh, that was another
if in 20 years, I start growing a third limb somewhere, okay, fine. I was wrong, but I kind of feel
faster.
You can animate faster.
I could animate faster. I could a third limb. I could animate like I could play guitar faster. I could play guitar and drums at the same time.
Productivity. Hell
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I just for a note about the side effects again. I almost never get like fevers. I don't remember having a fever ever in my life. I probably like as a small kid. I think all the infections I get are viral rather than bacterial, and they're much more like specific to a certain thing. But yeah, yesterday I just had these random, I guess maybe you call them hot flushes, but just sitting here and just suddenly feeling extremely hot, and then just going back to normal, like literally over the course of like 20 seconds or something. I was like, okay, that's weird. That's never
menopause.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, menopause.
Yeah.
Revenge of the GPU.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I wish I could get it. I really do. I have to go to work probably this week into the office again, and I'm like, it just freaks me out.
Yeah.
Like the case numbers have been dropping here in California. Luckily, we've turned it around, but today is the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh.
I don't know how many people are
Wait.
going to be. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, who's the halftime act?
I have no idea.
The
Right.
Weeknd.
I haven't
I think
followed it at all.
I didn't know until this time that The Weeknd is one guy. I think.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I checked it out. That's cool. It's definitely got those '80s the '80s synth in there. It's like the DX7 or whatever is the.
Yeah.
You can hear it. It's there.
Going back 1 second, there was one question I was asked. Sorry, when getting the jab that made me laugh, and because they have to ask it because they're required to. Are you pregnant? And I was like, no. I mean, I know you have to, and I know you can't make assumptions, but I'm sitting there as like an underweight kind of guy. It's just like, I don't think so.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I had a job where I had to get tested every day, and every day, even if I went back to the same person, they asked me if I was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, you never know.
You should have said yes at least once just to see what would happen.
Right.
Yes, I'm
Did they
pregnant.
ask more questions? Did they just end it there? How did they react?
I should have done that. That would have been fun.
Just look them straight in the eye and be like, heavily.
Third trimester.
Wow.
Oh, hey, Charan, you still?
I'm just looking now.
Oh yeah.
I thought you'd gone.
No.
I'm quite glad they're rolling out the vaccines in the UK. It finally means in over a year, I'll actually get to go see my dad. He's been siloed away in the countryside, which he loves. He loves being by himself, one man and his dog, so to speak.
Wow.
But of course, it's been a whole year. The kids are wondering about him and Ebony, the dog. So it's just like, hopefully, this will mean that he's had his jabs. He had an interesting one as well, similar to you there, Curtis, where it was like he lives in Suffolk, which is on the eastern side of the UK, and there's a nearby town, Ipswich. There's Norwich, Norwich in Norfolk, which is a good hour and a half drive away, or Cambridge. Which one would you like to go to?
Yeah,
those cool little towns up there. Like I would love to just after COVID, just go and like travel the countryside of the UK and just go to pubs, just pub hop.
Yeah,
it'd be the coolest thing ever.
Awesome.
Let me know if you.
I would love it.
Let me know when you're over.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
definitely
if
I come over, you guys are all knowing. I'm definitely a pub hop. I just I love those English pubs. We have a few that are styled. We have a few here that are styled after ones in England, but I mean it's not the same. Like it's like going to Epcot and being like, I'm in Germany. No, you're not. You're not in Germany. You're in Central Florida.
Well, all being well, hopefully there'll be some pubs left.
I do hope that people still want to run restaurants and pubs after COVID. Because I mean, if there's scientists that are saying, sure, we might have more pandemics, and we might, but hopefully, we can get back to having that, and people can have those businesses again, because they really do provide a lot to society. Restaurants and pubs, I mean, bars, they really do.
Yeah.
I miss going out.
Not everybody has a large house that they can have all their friends round in.
Exactly.
I can't invite 18 people to come round. Let's
I
go to the
know.
pub instead.
Exactly.
And you don't have to clean up after yourself. Which is
exactly. That is the best.
That's the number one reason to go.
No washing up.
You do. It's down to watch. That is a big pro.
Yeah.
Our dishwasher here.
That's right.
Never mind. You don't want to.
I want to know about the dishwasher.
We have a dishwasher, and it takes so long to finish washing and drying that it's not worth using. So we've used it twice.
Yeah, mine's like 2 hours.
Man,
it do take a long time.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's because they're so efficient with water. Like, if you look at the amount of water that a washing machine actually uses for a full load, it's like I think it's less than 2 liters, which, to be fair, is pretty impressive. But I would quite like it. Like, just use as much water as you want. If you can do these in 10 minutes, like that, I don't really care that much about. You use a minute amount of water. Like, I'm not that bothered about. I would use more than that just to do the dishes regularly. So
yeah,
I know.
Use at least that much.
At least, yeah. Just 'cause you leave it on when you're scrubbing, and it's way more efficient to have it in a machine.
Since we're talking about dishwashers, ours has a sort of a glasses setting, like a light load.
Yeah.
and it works better than any of the long loads do. And I swear it's because with the long loads, if there's grit or something like that in there, or like some pasta sauce gets thrown back up, it doesn't have time to actually dry on fully. Whereas the full like hour to 3 hour cycle is it just bakes up. But yeah, it works
I've
really
done
well.
so many
And it
dishes
turns them
this
around.
year. Made so much food at home. I never thought I would be this good at cooking, to be honest. But it's been a lot cooking. Haven't y'all been cooking? Like, what else?
We've been cooking.
I made rice today.
Yeah.
I
That's pretty
cooked
good.
today.
In a pot or a rice cooker?
No, in a pot. Yeah, that's
Pot.
I'm making
better than
Ben's,
nothing.
You cut the packet up, stick it in the microwave for 2 minutes. Yeah?
Oh, I do
Yeah.
Uncle Ben's most of the time, but when I'm feeling ambitious,
Rumbled.
I discovered packet rice in the UK. Like,
yeah.
I didn't know regular people bought that stuff
Mhm.
at, like, Sainsbury's.
Yep.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
the microwave stuff's really good, actually.
Whoa.
It's surprisingly good for
Yeah.
microwave
It
food.
really is. I don't
It's
usually cut a lot of corners when I'm cooking food. I do a lot of stuff from scratch, but that microwave rice every time, like that's 2 minutes and it's great.
A good hack if you want to conserve water and not do dishes is you just use disposable plates and silverware.
Oh yeah.
We were doing that for a while too, until we realized that we're throwing out way too much garbage every day. It was
Yeah.
like,
Save-
why
save
do I
the
have
water?
The environment
why
is so
the kitchen
happy.
full every day?
I've
Uh,
certainly learnt the art of batch cooking and large meal preparation because our house can have, with all the children over, it can have like 7 people in it, and now
Yeah.
two
Wow.
of them are getting hungry. It's almost like 4 adults and 3 children, and just learning to batch things. So whereas usually I love cooking, but I don't have the time to prepare them a gourmet meal. It's just like
Oh,
right.
no.
Like a great example would be like if I'm making fajitas. So if I was making fajitas for a smaller group of people, I'd get the frying pan out, do all the seasoning, do all the onions and everything. When it's a meal for all of us, I just put it all in a baking tray and shove it in the oven, take it out, then chop it up, and no one's the wiser.
Yep.
But you know what? I've had to spend a quarter of the time that I'd have done normally.
You need an instant pot pressure cooker. Those
Yeah,
are-
I was just gonna say, we got one of
Yeah.
those, and it's the coolest thing ever. It's like you
Yeah.
just throw a bunch of stuff in there, you hit a few buttons, you wait like an hour, and you have food for like 3 days.
It's insane.
It's so
Yeah, we do
insane.
that as
It's
well.
so cool. Yeah,
We made an amazing chili in it the other day.
it's so worth
Are they
having.
different than slow cookers? What's the difference?
They're just like programmable slow cookers.
Well, they're pressure cookers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pressure, so it's faster. So you're cooking under pressure. So it's like you used to have them on the stove where you could you have the like a they're just like pots, and then they have a seal on top, and they cook at high pressure, so it cooks faster.
Mm.
Like we used to take cans of sweetened condensed milk and throw them in there, and for like an hour or something, and make the dulce de leche, which is Argentinian sweetened condensed milk. So good, and I used to use it in a pressure cooker. I'd probably do it in an Instapot too, but I'd be afraid of doing that in an Instapot. But they just cook under pressure, so it's faster.
I always cook under pressure.
Yeah.
So speaking of condensed milk, I want to ask for the other UKians in the cool gypsy tart.
Yes.
Have you ever had that gypsy tart? Do you know
No.
what that is? Okay, Michael
Not
knows.
at all.
This is a very
Yeah.
obscure thing. It's like only a few people know about it. It's like it's specific to just a very
My
few
mum
regions.
was a really she was almost a professional chef, but definitely a professional cook. So I was very spoilt as a child.
Right.
man.
I mean, some people don't like it, but I love it, and it's basically just evaporated milk, pretty much, and brown sugar, I think, maybe.
Yes, I do know what you mean.
Yes. So it's got this
Yeah.
very nice taste. It's sweet, but almost kind of smoky in a way. I don't know how to describe it, but it's
Yeah.
super nice.
It's an acquired taste, like Marmite.
Yeah, but
Smoky
sugary.
is a little bit burnt.
Kind of more caramelized, kind of. I almost went nearly said it the American way. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of American and I've never heard shots called jabs, and I'm digging it, so I'm gonna try
really?
and bring it.
I've heard it called jabs here too.
Okay.
A lot of the hospital people, the medical community that I'm friends with, they all say jabs.
I love regional
Shot
differences.
something they do after work down the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I find that I'll move
No
in and
idea.
out of like Americanisms, and occasionally my family and or friends point it out, and they're like, "Why are you saying? Why are you using that word?" And I don't know. It's just what it is.
I used to work as a writer for about 3 or 4 years, but it was all for American blogs, so I had to write in American English.
Yeah.
So I got in a nasty habit all the time of like using American spelling and things all the time, and
Yeah.
like using American phrases for things, and then I'd pick myself up
Yes.
and like, I don't say that. Why am I using that phrase?
We actually use the letter Z.
Yeah. Because like the majority of my audience is American, right? So whenever I'm writing emails and stuff, I think, okay, write it in American. But like I tell my mum I do this, and she's like, you shouldn't do that. Like, you gotta, you can't. It's not right, I'm like, yeah, well, you kind of have to, because I always think, well, if I keep writing it the English way, someone's going to go, you spelled it wrong, and I'm going to be like, it's our language,
Yeah, I've had exactly the same.
It's our language.
I keep wondering whether or not it's worth the hassle writing in English. I've had a couple, UK English, because I've even had a couple of instances like you use the color ramp, so you've got the COLOR, but in my documentation, I've literally got the word color in English and then the color ramp next to it, spelled differently. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a culture thing. If I read an Americanism, I just read it, forget about it, and move on.
Yeah.
If it's in American English. But I have had numerous times people saying, you've spelt it wrong. It's like, nope. And little things like, I was discussing this the other day, install. How do you spell to install something onto a computer? Well, the UK version is actually just one L at the end. And I did not know that. I didn't even know that was
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the the UK English version of install has one L on the end. And I looked at it and went, nah, it doesn't. It doesn't now. I don't
that ain't right.
Yeah, we're the colonies. We destroyed your language. We melted.
Oh wow! I've just looked that up, and you're right. That is a thing.
It's what it was. So I'm using an AI system to do the first pass for any subtitles that I'm doing, and it's spelt install the UK way because I'd set all my preferences to UK spelling. So I went through and I auto corrected all, find and replace all the misspellings of install. I'm like, this stupid thing, why is it not getting it right? And it turned out, again, it was my partner. She turned around and said, yeah, that is how you spell it. That's the UK version. I'm like, I'm so uneducated.
Don't worry, like we had no idea, so you can't feel too bad.
I was watching your hologram tutorial, Michael, from a couple of years ago.
That was a fun one. That was.
And yeah, I was watching Decoded and yours because I'm trying to make like a hologram cemetery right now.
Mine's not very good.
Yeah, it's okay.
Ouch.
Wow. I have a few of those and they're decent, but not that very good. Michael's is better.
Yeah, I made my tutorial when I had about half an hour to get a video up, I think. So I just threw anything together.
I remember coming across. I was playing with Duplicate. I think I used Dupliverts on it, and I just came across this and I went, "This is so cool! This is so much quicker than using particle systems. Why don't more people use this?" And then I rotated the parent object and I was like, "They all move. This is awesome! I can animate them rotating round, so you get a shimmer effect with the lights." And I was just like, "This is so cool." It was one of those moments that I was just like, "I've got to share this before I forget the way that I did it."
Yeah.
So it was a really quick video, but it just worked. It was one of those ones that you sit down, you record, and it requires minimal editing because you're just like, "Yes, I've nailed it. I've actually managed it." What is that, Arthur?
I don't miss that.
Is that snow?
Yeah.
I don't miss that.
Very snowy out. The reason I brought up the video is because there's a moment in the video, Michael, where you don't know how to spell emitter. You're not sure.
Yeah.
And it's so cute because you're like, oh my god, I hope my mother's not watching. Like that's the kind of expression that you have.
100%. It's like, is this 2 M's? No, it's what? No, it's definitely 2. It's definitely no, it's not.
I admire that you put it up. You're just like whatever. I'm only human.
Everybody makes. Yeah, exactly. Everybody makes mistakes, and I try and own my mistakes. On like a course and stuff, you get the chance to go in and edit it and remove a gaff like that. But when it's on YouTube, it's just like, yeah, I screwed up, so what?
Yeah, and you'll get called out for it. It's inevitable.
I like self-deprecating humor. I mean, it's strong. It's strong in my family. So when it comes to something like that, I find it's easier to joke about it and get it right or wrong. But at least you've highlighted it, so any troll that decides to come along afterwards is like, yeah, I've already trolled myself.
Trolls.
You guys have snow over there. What's the temperature like?
That's a great question. What is it? Let's see.
32 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit.
0.
0? Yeah.
We 0 Fahrenheit?
Probably not Fahrenheit.
That's like too cold to snow.
It's 0 Celsius here.
0 Celsius.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's 2 degrees where I am.
We're at 4 Fahrenheit here, and I went on a run yesterday, and my breath was forming icicles on my eyelashes. It's crazy.
Nice.
One here. Icicles. Whoa, no.
Yeah. They my eyes. If I like blinked for too long, they almost got stuck together.
Wow.
Yeah.
I admire anybody who just goes out for exercise in weather like this. I mean, I probably should, but there we go.
Well, I was just curious to see how my body would hold up in the extreme cold, and I learned some things.
My best time for running 5K in a village that I used to live in a few years ago. I used to go out. It was one of those villages where you could actually run around like the outskirts of it by just going around in one big loop along the roads. And about 2/3 of the way in, it started hailing.
No way.
And it was light to begin with, and then it got heavier and heavier. So I'm running. It was the fastest time I've ever done 5K because I was running through bullets.
What was that, Kev? Was that 73 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yeah, in Burbank.
I haven't a clue what
LA.
30.
That's
I
cozy.
know what water freezes at and what it boils at, and then something in between.
The only reason I have any reference for Fahrenheit is because our thermometer for our home in Florida is in Fahrenheit. So I understand, like, okay, well, this is the cozy 72. Yay, nice.
Yeah, 70 degrees is about 20 degrees C, I think.
Meanwhile,
Chicago. Oh man.
Crazy. Yeah.
Chilly.
Told my brother. I said, "Hey, come to LA." No, I'm gonna stop here. Okay, stop there.
Surprisingly,
7.
It has actually snowed here again today, which is quite rare. So the dogs had more fun out in the snow.
Oh yeah. There's a nice thing, like when it first snows and you can't go anywhere, and it's like if you don't have to go anywhere and you can just chill and make like hot chocolate or some other fun drink and just chill. It's great. But when you have to go to work and the office is open, and it's just ridiculous. I hated that. Oh, what a mess.
Did I think I might have done, but did I talk about like the time I went to Poland on this podcast? I might have skimmed over
think so.
I think so.
So it was part of a school trip. It was minus 30 degrees Celsius because we went to Auschwitz-Birkenau, the concentration and death camps. That was part of it, but it was, other stuff as well. We went in February, I think. And it was just it was a cold grab. It was like, it's the coldest I've ever been. And the same thing what you were describing, Jacob, where just as you're walking around, your eyes start kind of freezing up.
Yeah.
And like I'd have to get like another friend to kind of like brush the ice off my face. And there was a point where like my camera literally died. It was so cold. And I think that was because of ice. It forms, it expands, and then it cracks. So circuitry doesn't do too great. My hands were bleeding when I would take the gloves off because they weren't thick enough. So it was just crazy times.
I felt that in Iowa and Minnesota before. It gets really cold there. Like that Arctic, there's nothing to block the Arctic air there, so it just comes right down from Canada, and deep freeze, polar vortex stuff. And I remember one time too, I was even in New Jersey. There was a span where it was like 0, and then it went negative, like -4 Fahrenheit, and I had to work that night, and I remember I was teaching, so I was teaching some night classes I picked up, so I had to like drive up to this other area and park, and it was like a mile, or not a mile, maybe like half a mile walk from where I had to park to the school, and I was walking in that, and I just remember like it was pain, and I was like bundled up too. I mean, I had like earmuffs, a hat, I had like gloves, everything, scarf, and I was still. By the time I got inside, I was still like, like when it's really cold and you like scrunch up your face and it takes a while to reset, like you feel it resetting, that kind of cold where it's like, you're in pain. You breathe in and it's like it hurts.
When we were in Poland for a laugh, I mean, even though it was really cold, we would freeze our drinks. So like we'd be laying down in our in our warm room and whatever, and just for a laugh we'd put like a bottle of water out on the windowsill outside and come back like half an hour later or something, and it'd just be frozen.
That was one thing that was nice about having winters. You could always put the beer out on the fire escape or something, or out on the deck. And you never had to refrigerate it. It was always just cold beer. Like, it was awesome.
That's
like,
what I
remember
did with these. I got these
from
the shop like 2 hours ago. I just put them straight outside in the back garden. I'm not going to bother put them in the fridge. It's colder outside
not Budweiser,
than it is
is
in
it?
the fridge.
That's not Budweiser, is it?
Yeah.
Oh boy, you're drinking Budweiser.
Definitely not Corona.
I was drinking Bud on the last one as well.
It's almost like if we drink Foster's here and then you like talk to Australians, like Markom would probably go, "Why are you drinking that piss?" And it was kind of like that with Budweiser. Although I gotta say, like there are times that I've had Budweiser and I'm like, this is fine. It tastes good.
Yeah, I've heard there's a bit of a stigma about it, but I've heard there's more of a stigma for Bud Light.
Like, Bud Light.
Yeah, I like Bud Light, to be honest.
Do you really?
Mm.
I would opt for Budweiser. I would opt for just regular Bud over Bud Light, but
But then
I don't really
care though, to be honest. Like lager after about 5 pints, it's just the same.
It doesn't matter after
once
that.
you get into it, it really doesn't matter.
Exactly. At that point, like, who cares?
I've got a lot of friends who are very snobby about beer, and I'm like, whatever's cheapest on tap, that's what I want, basically. Unless, apart from Colin, because that really does just taste of water. Like anything else, I'm like, okay, I'll just have it.
I started. I used to drink anything, and then for a while, I was just getting into like the different beers and different tastes and everything, and now I just kind of like back to whatever. I don't drink that much anymore, but when I do, it's like whatever, it's there.
Yeah.
Coffee, on the other hand, I've become like real snobby about.
Yeah, but at the shop next to my house, the choice was Budweiser, pint cans of Stella.
Mm-hmm.
Or what's called Tiski or something, the Polish one. But
yeah,
that one looked a bit weird. Like the boxes looked like they'd been stood on or something. So I went with the Bud.
Yeah, I'd go with Bud.
Yeah, that's fair. I've cut caffeine out again because I had a bit of I think I had gastritis or something. Yeah. And I was like, okay, coffee is not great for me. So yeah, I've got rid of that. But when it comes to drinks, what I usually go for is white wine, generally.
Yeah,
because
I like white wine. We had a Chardonnay last night, and we had a Pinot in the fridge. It's nice. It's good.
Yeah, I like sweeter ones. But I can't have red wine because I've mentioned it before. But tannin intolerance.
The tannins.
Yeah.
But sulfites.
But white is it's fine. It doesn't mess with my head like other things as well, and I don't feel sickly. Like after too much beer, like I feel kind of sickly. But with white wine, it's just clean, I guess.
We have some really good wine in California. Some of the vineyards, Central Coast and Napa.
Yeah.
Oh man, some really good stuff. And now like Temecula, out just east of here, is starting to light up and growing some good vines.
Yeah, I like.
A lot of the wine we get in the UK comes from California now.
Yeah.
It used to all be Australia for a while. Like originally, obviously, it was all just France. And then the Australian market flooded a bit, and then all the like Napa Valley sort of wines and things started coming through. And it's like fairly cheap here, to be honest. Like California wine now. I'm not a big wine drinker. I don't know if it's any good, but you can get it.
If you can get Kamere, Kamere. I don't know if they sell outside of that area. Like Wolf Vineyards is another one, and I don't know if they sell outside of the area. But if you can find Wolf or Kamere, they're two of the top. They're so good, so good. And Wolf, the whole family is just awesome. Like we go up there, like we used to be members of there, and we would stop off there like on the way up to the Bay Area, and it's such a great, beautiful part. Like it's one of those places you see like the rolling hills covered in vines, and then like mountains in the background. I mean, it's just picturesque.
I want to go grab a glass of wine.
I know.
Drink responsibly, everyone. Just listening. You know?
We are not endorsing we are not endorsing that on this podcast.
No.
Yes,
Yeah.
only have the one glass. Just fill it up responsibly.
That's right. Spit it out responsibly.
Yeah, there was one Chardonnay that I really liked that my dad would kind of collect when he could, and that was the Francis Coppola one. I don't know if you've heard of that,
yeah. We had a bottle of that.
Really
it's actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know where his vineyard is. It might be in Malibu here. I don't know. I don't know if it's in Malibu or if it's up in Napa. But it's pretty good. A friend of mine dropped a bottle off a few weeks ago. It was really good.
Yeah, it's nice. It's got a really kind of strong, kind of sweety, smoky kind of thing to it, but I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, his brand is pretty good.
So Blender.
I know. We were talking about Blender.
Talking about wines, because I don't have anything to do with wines because I don't drink.
Yeah.
But I made a vineyard wine render recently. If you have seen that.
Oh yeah.
I saw that. It was good. Really good.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I just wanted to talk about wine, so that's it. Nothing else.
Yeah. No, it looked good. And it's relevant to Blender.
Yeah, the glass is really good. The absorption, it's really key when you get the index of refraction and absorption correct.
I couldn't see that in the reference, but in one particular glass, in the reference, there was this like nice stretching because I haven't seen a wine bottle. So there was this nice stretching. Then that's when I realized like it's kind of like it's like streaks, right? What is it called?
Brushed.
Brushed, yeah. It's like brushed glass.
Brushed.
Yeah.
Like anisotrophy.
Yeah, like anisotrophy. Yeah, and it was yeah, that's exactly what it is. So I didn't know how to say it. So I added a little bit of bump, and it made it 100 times better than what I expected it to look like.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it was really nice. And then roughness variation gave the realism. That's it.
I know Syncretic has been working on a dust shader that looks really, really cool.
About the dust and stuff, like I didn't know, like before, whenever I used to add dust, it's just like roughness at 1. But it's honestly like a layer of diffuse, like literally. Like I become a big fan of dust particles lately after watching one of the renders by Cornelius Damrich. I did send like the pencil render. I sent few guys, right? The pencil one and the syringes.
Yeah,
like a collection of them. Yeah, the dust on top of them looked flawless. I'll find the link.
I gotta head out, but it was good talking to everyone.
Yeah, nice speaking to you, Jacob.
No worries.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I need to go.
Yeah, that's fair. We've gone for about 1.5 hours, so we're okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
might be a good time to call it.
Yeah.
Catch you later, guys.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Rob.
See ya.